decent run going for the fourth week in a row as they took on Limerick. Commentary comes from Liam Sheedy and Ger Canning.
Limerick manager TJ Ryan has to start this quarter-final without his captain Donal O'Grady. He's got a calf muscle injury and Tom Ryan comes in to replace him. Otherwise it's the Munster final team, a match in which Shane Dowling scored 12 points. Wexford boss Liam Dunn makes one expected change from the side which saw off Waterford in the last round of the qualifiers. Diarmuid O'Keefe replaces Harry Keogh at half forward as number 14 Conor MacDonald bids to add to his impressive 5 goals and 8 points for the summer so far. Limerick's third match of the championship, Wexford's sixth of course. Jack Guiney goes after it, surrounded by Limerick players. Picked up in the end here by Paul Brown, busy midfielder, as far as Seamus Hickey. Back over to the middle here as far as James Ryan, fancying this one from where the ball is thrown in, looking for the first point from open play, and he puts it over the bar. Great score by James Ryan, the Gary Spillane man, from a huge distance out. And that'll really settle this Limerick team.
Yeah, great score there by James Ryan, you know, a wonderful score from distance.
David Breen making a good start here. Now how will he finish this? The chase comes in, he's all the way in, 20 metres out. Oh, what a shot, what a goal. Or is it?
Yeah, caught the ball 3 times.
Oh, it's caught it 3 times. Let's have a look at it again. Yeah, it did catch it 3 times. Now Wexford trying to do something here. Podge Doran trying to set up a chance for Jack Guiney. Pursued by Gavin O'Mahony. Still got enough room there to swing the stick and put this one in and put it over the bar. That's a good return now by Wexford. Just their second attack.
Yeah, very important score there by Jack Guiney. You know, it was a very difficult angle again. You know, Limerick were chasing him down, but you know, thought the block was going to come in, but he managed to get the ball back over the bar. Really big score for Wexford after 5 minutes. Their first score.
And that's out by Rossiter. In here as far as Lee Chin. Has a pass to give, doesn't do so. Carries it on instead. Now he delivers it to O'Keefe. Diarmuid O'Keefe from left half forward. In classical style, he drives it over the bar. That was beautifully done. Lee Chin did really well to set it up for Diarmuid O'Keefe, and the finish was exquisite.
Yeah, great score, you know, as you said, Lee Chin made a great burst, and Diarmuid O'Keefe, you know, asked him to get in the start today, and that's a wonderful score off his left-hand side.
That's drops in there beautifully. Graham Mulcahy, first chance he's got. Referee gives him advantage. He was fouled. He just play on. Paul Brown does, and Brown has this chance to send it right between the posts, and he's not going to miss with those kind of openings.
Yeah, Graham Mulcahy was the first man onto the breaking ball. You know, very, very effective against Cork. Got 3 great scores in play, and he looks to have had a good start again. And Paul Brown made no mistake. Good advantage there by Barry Kelly as well. Let the game develop rather than blowing for the free.
Out as far as Kieran Kenny. Runs into the challenge of David Breen immediately. Breen's not going to give up in a hurry. Into the middle here towards Lee Chin. Pursued there by Declan Hannon. Chin gets away. It's one of the stars of the summer, this wonderful championship we're having. Back in beautifully here. Sent forward. In as far as Podge Doran. Why?
Oh, what an opportunity here for Wexford. You know, great play there, into play by Paul Morris, who got the pass from Lee Chin, and Podge Doran bearing down on goals. Nicky Quaid, great dive, but you felt the ball was goalward bound corner of the net, just sneaked outside the post.
Given away to David Redmond, spins around, out as far as Paul Morris, now unmarked. There's a point for the taking here. Needs to make sure of this one, and he does so. Couldn't afford to miss and didn't. A lot of good pressure coming from the Limerick forwards and midfielders on their opponents, making it hard. Seamus Hickey out to James Ryan, a point score earlier on, and he'd like to double that, and he does so. Great point again by James Ryan.
Yeah, but wasn't it set up by a fantastic catch by Seamus Hickey? As I said, he's completely owned the battle there between himself and Liam McGovern. Great pass to James Ryan, a great score, inspirational score.
All the way down towards Shane Dowling. Litz slips inside. David Breen had a goal chance earlier on, and this time there is absolutely no mistake whatsoever. David Breen's 5th time to score in the championship.
Yeah, it's a great goal. You know, Shane Dowling does it extremely well. Matthew Hannon is playing Shane Dowling from behind, and you know, David Breen ran on, no mistake this time, 1 catch, smashes the ball to the back of the net. That's a huge score for Limerick, but they're full value for their lead at the moment.
inside the last 30 seconds of the opening 35 minutes. Back it comes again here to a determined David Redmond. Slips the hand pass outside to Andrew Shaw. The Parnell's man slips past his first marker. A point for the taking here, maybe something better. MacDonald, and MacDonald hits it over the bar. A minute of stoppage time will be played. MacDonald took the pass and Wexford get another. Big second half will be required from them. And David Breen winning so many of these puck-outs, causing major problems for Kieran Kenny. Oh, could have gone anywhere. It's a goal! And once again, it's Shane Dowling. His 7th ever championship goal comes in added time.
Yeah, great burst. You know, Kieran Kenny has struggled with David Breen all of this first half. You know, he's really been on top in that sector. Great save, in fairness, by Mark Fanning. But Shane Dowling is there, and you know, they're on the attack now again.
Yeah, they are, and they could get another one, and they do. But the referee has gone in. Is he going to allow it?
It went off his hands, so I'm not so sure he will allow it. He's allowing the goal.
He is allowing it. It's a second one for Shane Dowling. It was in flight, really.
It was in flight, and when it's in flight, Barry Kelly was absolutely 100% correct. It was a goal, and a good goal, and obviously gives Limerick a massive lead here now.
Gone as far as David O'Keefe, and O'Keefe hitting it from the other sideline, looking to make the right possible start to the second half, and a 3rd point for him. Really good start here by Wexford, so that's one back at least. On come Limerick again, looking for another opportunity to add to their considerable and impressive tally. Paul Brown has scored in the first half, wriggling his way through, looking for another goal. Dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Yeah, great play by Paul Brown. You know, he's really attacking in. You know, got a few chances like this in the Munster final, didn't come off, but this time the whole thing opened up in front of him.
Chance now for Conor MacDonald, who's just turned 19, to strike this one between the posts and over, and a second one for him. Straight as far as Declan Hannon, shows assurance, good poise as well, trying to take that ball back from David Breen, and succeeds. What determination! He'll deserve a score here. He might have got a goal, he gets a point instead. He's having a smashing match. 4 points by Declan Hannon. Wayne McNamara. Missed there by Liam Ryan, who'll be thinking about the under-21 championship, I'm sure, as well, as he leaves this one behind, and Graham Mulcahy finishes it in style.
Yeah, unfortunately for Liam Ryan, you know, he did come in front that time, left the ball after him, and Graham Mulcahy deadly again, third point today.
James Ryan steadily out here once more, delivered in, and finally put over the bar. No problems whatsoever, and that's another one for Shawnee Tobin.
Yeah, regular on the team last year, you know, that's a really nice score. He's picked off 2 lovely points in his introduction, so he's making the case for a starting place.
Andrew Shaw. And Wexford looking for a late opportunity here, and that one's crashed in. Shane Tompkins. One consolation goal coming. 20 minutes since Wexford last scored.
Yeah, Limerick a bit disappointed defensively. They should have dealt with that ball coming in. Paddy O'Brien came across, and in fairness to Shane Tompkins, he ran in, took the ball in, low finish to the net. You know, a good finish for Shane Tompkins.
Taken out here brilliantly, and that's away once again by Stephen Walsh. That's a second very telling intervention by him. With a very good stop earlier. Tom Ryan in as far as Shane Dowling, and he felt that. That was a nasty, that's a red card. It's for Matthew O'Hanlon, from bad to worse. Made contact with Shane Dowling's hand. We'll have to hope that that's not a serious injury to the full forward. Shawnee Tobin's going to take this one. He's got 2 points already. And Shawnee Tobin knocks it over the bar. He's got 3. That should pretty much be the end of that. But for TJ Ryan, a job really well done. Came in, become sole manager after Donal O'Grady left before the start of the championship. He's energised them, reached the Munster final, Disappointed that day, but today Limerick beat Wexford and beat them by all of 24 points. TJ Ryan goes across to Liam Dunn, shakes his hand. A really good performance by Limerick. They're on to the semi-finals for the second year in a row. They'll be hoping to go one better, but they're up against the Cats. That's going to be an intriguing tie in 2 weeks' time. And the final score is Limerick 4-26, Wexford 1 goal and 11.
I think, to be fair to Wexford, maybe playing 4 weeks in a row, eventually it was going to come to a halt at some stage. To be fair to them, you see the intensity that's required to play at this level. To try and do it 4 weeks in, I know the adrenaline and all that keep you going, but to be fair to them, right, it's very difficult. You know what I'm saying? And our guys were spot on. I felt the last day, you know what I'm saying, even from my own point of view, maybe the Munster final, maybe it was my own fault. Maybe we did too much the week of the match. You know what I'm saying? We trained really hard, and maybe I was kicking myself maybe afterwards. And you know what I'm saying? Even some of the guys said maybe the match hardness to bring it on. I thought the match would have left us spot on. I thought we were spot on for today, and I would have been extremely disappointed if it didn't go our way. But look, the performance was very good and very professional.
Yeah, it was a tough day at the office, but look at, I can't fault the players for the effort. The heads were telling them to go, but the bodies just weren't bringing them there. And you have to give Limerick credit. They came out of traps, and from, I suppose, the third or fourth minute in the game right through, there was only one team in it.
Yeah, interesting from both managers there. It does appear Liam Dunfield's the 4 weeks and 2 periods of extra time caught up on them, don't look.
Yeah, both managers spoke really well there, to be fair to both of them. I think most people, all hurling people, anybody from a sporting point of view would have been very disappointed for Wexford today. I think when Liam Dunn is saying good luck to the boys tonight and when they get off the bus or whatever, I think the best thing they can do is just erase it from the memory, today's performance, and think back on this summer. There has been serious progress made. If you look at last year's under-21s, they had a terrible defeat in the All-Ireland semi-final, but yet this year they've bounced back. And look, sport is like life. Sometimes when you think that things are going very well from you, the carpet gets taken out from underneath you, and the big test is, can you get up from knockdowns like that? And I believe that they can. Yeah,
well, an interesting point on that is that Limerick last year against Clare in the All-Ireland semi-final had the rug pulled from under them, and they have come back well again.
Well, they had, and I suppose the common denominator there is hype. There was such hype in Limerick after winning the Munster final last year that they took their eye off their next game, which was the semi-final against Clare. Now, look at the hype that has been down in Wexford for the last few weeks. Very difficult for inexperienced players to cope with that. And really, what you were looking at there at the start of the game today was Wexford's body language. That's what I was looking for, to see had they that zip in their legs that they had in the last few games. And you saw from early on that they were really, really struggling with the heavy legs, none of the kind of decisiveness that they had in the games leading up to this. And 3 minutes into the game, I just wrote down one word, one phrase, Wexford in trouble. You could see it right from, even after 3 minutes of the game, you could see the game was really up for Wexford today.
That shouldn't take from Limerick, by the way. Sure, shouldn't they? Were very good, they're very clinical.
Limerick, of the 4 teams today in Thurles, Limerick were by far the most impressive, because this was a massive improvement from their Munster final form. I thought in the Munster final, and TJ made a brilliant point there, that maybe they had trained too hard leading into the Munster final, because they were flat in the Munster final. They were very flat that day against Cork, even though they made a good start and missed a few chances, but they faded out of the game. Now today they looked the team transformed, full of energy, great communication on the field, brilliant teamwork, great support play all over the field, and new life about them all together. So very, very impressed by Limerick today.
Let's look at it then. First of all, where did it go wrong for Wexford?
Well, I think from early on, what I was saying there about, looking for their body language, after about 2 or 3 minutes, the puck out from the goalkeeper, things that came to them so easily and they were so sharp with before. Now look at this, touch terrible, body language very poor, the legs heavy, and no proper decision making. Now, worst of all was that, but this exacerbated their whole problem, leaving Declan Hannon completely loose. Now, inside Nennis or below in Wexford Park or in Nolan Park, they wouldn't do that. So when you saw that happening, you knew straight away they're going to be beaten. The only question after that was how much would they be beaten by? But Limerick were the fresher team, but they were the better team as well. In most aspects of the play, we cannot. I'm not that sure if there's the 4 games in a row or whether there's a bit of stage fright that struck Wexford today. I wouldn't rule out the stage fright aspect of it now completely. Because they should have started better. Exhaustion shouldn't have been a factor early on in the game. I think stage fright, and that would be a bigger problem than exhaustion. But Only time will tell that.
I did note, though, Donlow, early on when we were watching together, you were saying, well, they are trying to do the right things here.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Limerick were by far the better team. But I suppose I've watched Wexford in a lot of games this year, and one thing that's been obvious is that they're well coached, they're trying to do the right thing, even though they were under pressure today. I thought all these were great examples that they were showing good composure, not panicking, trying to hold on to possession. I know it ends up in them here not getting a score, and I think it's, you see, the cheap shot tonight would be to say, you know, lads, what are we trying to do, passing all this short passing and stuff like that. But Liam Dunn, Liam Griffin, all these guys, Jerk Hush, they know the modern game, and the modern game demands that Wexford are able to play in this way. And today will be a great learning experience from. Even here when the play broke down, you saw great pass from David Redmond and Paul Morris putting the ball over the bar. So I wouldn't be throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Yeah. There's been significant progress made this year, and you know, even in things didn't go right for him. Limerick by far the better team, but if you see here, this was a great catch by Conor MacDonald, a long ways. That ball was going a long ways over his head. Just didn't go right for him, and there was
good block though, in fairness.
Yeah, it was exactly credit, and there was a couple of great blocks in the Limerick defence. Here again, you know, to be fair, Nicky Quaid, it's not your day, you know. So along with them Limerick being the better team, you know, Wexford, things just didn't go right for him as well on the day.
Which area were Limerick strongest in?
Well, I suppose everybody talks in football and hurling now about the middle third, you know, the area between the two 45 metres lines, really, you know, half back, midfield, half forward. And I suppose if you look at Wexford in the games against Clare especially, you know, it was their domination in the air that was the platform for their success against Clare. Now today it was the other way around. Limerick totally dominated the air. Now we saw the Declan Hannon and David Breen in the half forward line, but not alone that, James Ryan in midfield, when McNamara centre back, all over that area they completely dominated in the air, and they out-muscled them on the ground as well, you know. Now, it came, I suppose, as well from a better work rate. You know, Limerick were fresher. We'll have to take that aspect of it into consideration. But, like, Seamus Hickey at corner, he was absolutely brilliant at cornerback. The way the Limerick backs attacked the ball today, with real fire and confidence, totally different to the Munster final. And not alone when they attacked the ball, there was always a support player coming. Even we saw Tom Condon, oh, there he's there, coming from cornerback up the field. And what I liked about Limerick is, when Tom Condon was going up the field, there was somebody else drifting back into his corner. They weren't going to leave McDonald and McGovern in a two-man full forward line today. They were covering that all the time.
Kept their shape.
Great tactical, great tactical approach by Limerick today. And you know, when you see a team like that, it's a team that has real confidence. And you know, this victory today, I know it was maybe a bit too easy in the end, but at the same time, it'll give them great confidence going to Croke Park.
And they got the goals, which is important, because is it too simplistic to say if they had taken their goal chances in the Munster final, they could have beaten Cork?
It would be too simplistic, Des, because I think Cork were the better team, and it would be unfair on Cork to say that. But today, if you want to be an elite team, you need to carry the killer instinct. And in modern day hurling, you need, most of the time, you need goals to win the games. But the defending from Wexford, they'll be very disappointed. If you look here, like David Breen was starting behind a lot of Wexford players, and that was a good finish, but it wasn't a great finish. It's, you know, I'm maybe not as positive as Ger about the impact this is going to have on Limerick going into the final, because I don't think that Limerick are going to be, you know, waltzing through the Kilkenny defence like this. Again, you know, it was way too easy for Breen to win the ball. Terrific save, but again, Wexford will be really disappointed. And there's a couple of, you know, when you're defending, there's a couple of systems that you can utilise. But one of them is that when you break, when your own half-back line is broken, it needs to be all hands on deck. And you need every player streaming back towards the fence. And whether it was mental tiredness or whether it was physical tiredness that Ger has been speaking about, I don't know. But if you look here, Paul Brown gathering the ball in the middle of the field. Limerick were really good at laying off the ball and going in support. But look here, look. Here's Paul Brown again. And, you know, the Wexford defence, and I don't want to be talking about older days or anything like that, but Liam Dunn, you know, you wouldn't be getting through there without a finger being laid in you. Again, look at the half-back. And the marker I always use, if anybody here listening in terms of interest in coaching, you should use the nearest upright. When that half-back line is broken, anybody who finds themselves in the wing-back positions, you should aim for the nearest upright. And you mightn't make a difference 9 out of 10 times, but it's that one time out of 10 that you will make the difference. And whilst it was great to see Limerick going for goals, Wexford's defending was poor.
Okay.
Oh, there's no question about that. You know, the defending was very poor, but still 4-26 is a very good score against any opposition, yeah.
And they now play Kilkenny. How well equipped are Limerick to take on Kilkenny?
Well, they now play Kilkenny, right. You'll have everybody talking about 2 years ago down in Thurles, you know, the evening down in Thurles in the quarter-final as well, and Henry Shefflin got the two goals early on in the game. One of them, you know, one of the greatest goals you'd ever see, whether it's by chance or by design, I'm not quite sure yet, but I suppose the big question is, will Kilkenny start Henry now the next day? That is, you know, that'll be a big decision for Brian Cody. But I would say Limerick are far better prepared now going into Croke Park than ever they were before. They have basically the same team as they had 2 years ago. They're 2 years now down the road. They have the experience of what happened, that collapsed in Croke Park last year. That will never happen to them again. That's most unusual for Limerick, for that to happen. But the hype, the missed frees, there were a lot of Clare's tactics, there were a lot of factors leading into last year. What they have, I think, where they will match Kilkenny is they will match them physically. And they're about the only team that's there that can match Kilkenny physically. The big question is, of course, will they have the hurling to match Kilkenny? You know, that's you know, you know, how many teams have the hurling to match Kilkenny? But it's a great starting point when you're playing Kilkenny to realise you have the physicality to match them. And after that, it's up to themselves whether they have the confidence on the day and whether they have the same drive as they had today. If they have a great chance.
All right, well, it's one to look forward to. Obviously, we'll have it live here in 2 weeks' time. Our man of the match from today, Donlogue?
Yeah, Des, all from Limerick, not surprisingly. First of all, Seamus Hickey, he was terrific in the corner. He was really good in the Munster final, especially when he was marking Patrick Horgan also, and he dominated Liam Hogan. That was a big psychological win for Limerick, especially in the first half when the game was in the melting pot. James Ryan has been really good for Limerick over the last number of years. He was outstanding in the middle of the park today. And finally, Shane Dowling, top-class forward.
All right, and who gets the award then?
Well, he scored 2-8 today, 2-3 from play. That's more important than 2-8. He scored 2-3 from play, but not alone that, he was a score creator as well when he was in there. And now he's somebody they can aim at in the full forward line, something that they haven't had in the last 2 or 3 years. Really developing into a top-class forward. Still a bit of a problem with his right-hand side, but he was terrific today, and his pass, I think, on for their first goal was just magic. So Shane Dowling, man of the match.
All right, congrats to Shane. Let's hear from the Napier man.
Shane Dowling, most things anyway just seem to go right for you and for Limerick today.
Absolutely, yeah. It was a great win, obviously. We did a lot of good things. Obviously, there's a couple of things we're going to have to fine-tune, but overall it was a great performance, and we're happy to get back to Croke Park where we kind of left off last year.
Well, a few things to fine-tune. It looked pretty good out there, but there were an awful lot of wides despite the massive score.
Yeah, as I said, there's always something you can work on, and obviously that's one. But at least I know Liam Dunn said it after they played Clare and after they played Waterford, at least they're getting the opportunities, and once you're getting the opportunities, then you can work on that.
And you converted a lot of them today, Shane Dowling. That's why you're the Liberty Insurance or team man of the match, and Pat O'Brien from Liberty is here with the award.
Congratulations, Shane. Well played. Thank you.